Wander over yonder, in The Return to Equestria, written by Angel She 24. Welcome back, y'all. After dropping by Fluttershy's cottage, Apple Bloom had decided to head back to the farm to inform her sister of being unsuccessful in finding Fluttershy. She found her coming out of the barn pulling out bales of hay, and then she came up to her and told her the good news. "Hey, Applejack." "Oh, hey, Apple Bloom," Applejack responded as she spotted her younger sister. There's something you need to know. Well, let me say something first. I went all the way to Fluttershy's cottage to tell her what y'all wanted me to tell her. But when I got there, she wasn't there. Just that weird goofball, Discord. He was being his usual weird self as always. And even though I was amused by him just a little, he weirded me out too much dressing himself in a mixed dress. But anyway, I came back here to tell y'all that, just to let y'all know. So, what is it that y'all wanted to tell me? Applejack smiled nervously and scratched her head while saying, "Well, y'all see." Suddenly, Fluttershy came out of the barn nearby after some assisting. She saw Apple Bloom and smiled as she greeted her. "Oh, hey there, Apple Bloom. Were you looking at me?" "What, y'all see?" "AB," said Applejack. "Fluttershy arrived here a few minutes after you left. And when she did, we sorta talked about our meeting later in the day, the same thing you were supposed to tell her." "Heh? So you mean I took that errand for you for nothing? Y'all gotta be kidding me." Fluttershy felt a little sorry that she wasn't at her house, so Apple Bloom didn't go that distance. "So sorry about that, Apple Bloom. If I knew that you were coming to me, I would have waited." "Honest, no, it's okay," Apple Bloom sighed. "I needed to stretch out my hoods anyway." "A little trot was all I needed." Fluttershy sighed with relief. "Well, that's good to hear." As she was taking her up into the sky, she looked back at Applejack and said, "I'm heading back to my cottage, Applejack. I'll see you at the meeting later, sure thing." After Fluttershy left, Applejack looked at her little sister with a smirk as she chuckled a bit, saying, "So, Discord in a maid's dress, huh?" "Don't ask," Apple Bloom groaned. He was just being himself. "But I guess I'd be lying if I said that I didn't find it a bit amusing placing her hoop around her sister." Applejack said, "Well, why don't y'all come and help me out gathering the rest of the harvested apples? That ought to cheer you up a bit, yeah?" I guess. Suddenly, Applejack heard her big brother, Macintosh, call out to her from behind the barn. "Oh, Applejack, ya might want to come and see this." Applejack was wondering what he was calling her for and whether or not it was for something that was bad or not. Apple Bloom was quite curious herself, so she followed her sister as she came over to where Big Mac was. "What is it, Big Mac?" said Applejack as she turned the corner to behind the barn. But then she stopped when she suddenly saw a long patch of some sparkly substance that stretched down over the back of the barn. "What the hay is that?" Applejack questioned, but Macintosh wasn't quite sure what it was either. Apple Bloom thought it looked interesting and was reaching her hoop towards it. "Ooh, pretty hoods off, Apple Bloom," shouted Applejack, who pulled her away. "We don't know what that stuff might be." "It might be something dangerous, Macintosh agreed. "What? How can something that looks so cute and innocent like possibly be dangerous?" "Need I remind you of the Purse Bright incident?" Apple Bloom remembered that fateful day, and it still gave her chills. "Ugh, that's right. Well, whatever it is, it seems to be some kind of pathway that goes straight up into the sky. I hope this doesn't deal with anything that may cause trouble for us." And at this moment of all moments, all three of them looked up in the sky and saw the sparkly path that reached up to the heavens, and hopefully Applejack was right. But suddenly, Apple Bloom spotted something that was up in the sky. "Hey, wait a second," she said, squinting her eyes. "I think I see something up there on the path." Applejack looked closer and noticed that she saw something too. "You're right, Apple Bloom, there's something up there, but I can't quite make it out. Oh no." Suddenly, Apple Bloom zoomed off from the scene and then came back holding a pair of binoculars up to her eyes. "What do you see?" Applejack asked as her sister was focusing. But then, Apple Bloom's mouth gaped open and she was at a sudden loss for words, until she said, "No way, see could it be? Is it really them?" "What?" said Applejack, being curious. "Who do you see, little sis?" But Apple Bloom was getting too excited of what she saw that all she could say while hopping up and down was, "Oh my goodness, it is them. It's really them." Applejack was being a little impatient and shouted, "Apple Bloom, tell us who you see already." Apple Bloom then calmed down enough to finally say, "It's our friends from outer space, Wander and Sylvia. They've come back." That they did. The wandering duo finally arrived and were coming in fast on the now sloped path due to Sylvia's speed. "There it is, Sylvia," Wander shouted while pointing downward. "Sweet Apple Acres. Kinda of a coincidence that this path took us exactly where we started from last time," said Sylvia with an arched eye, "but oh well, hang on tight." "No way," shouted Applejack to her sister. "Do you mean to tell me that your letter actually reached them?" Looks that way, said Macintosh. Well, maybe it did or maybe it didn't, said Apple Bloom, getting excited again, but who cares? Wonder and Sylvia are back. Aw, can't believe it. As they all looked up again, they saw the duo coming in fast. And seeing where their path headed, Applejack requested, maybe we should move. The three siblings quickly got out of the way, and Sylvia came sliding down and landed on the ground with an earth-shaking stump. Sylvia brushed herself off and took a big stretch as she told Wonder, and that's how you stick a landing. My friend Wonder looked back up behind them and saw that the rest of their magic trail was vanishing. Check it out, Sylvia. Now that we've reached the end, the path is disappearing, like magic, Wonder. I swear if you start with that, I will slug you silly. Suddenly, Wonder's ears rung upon hearing someone call his name. Wonder. Wonder and Sylvia then looked to their side and their main filly friend, Apple Bloom, running towards them. Wonder smiled brightly and held out his arms as he shouted, "Hey, Apple Blah, oof." But he was cut off when Apple Bloom dived into him and both of them landed in the dirt with Apple Bloom on top, hugging him tightly. This is such a surprise. Aw, can't believe that you're actually here, right now. After breaking loose from Apple Bloom's hug, Wonder smiled proudly and said, well, I couldn't break my promise, now could I? Said Sylvia from behind them. You know, I'm here too. Doesn't that count as something? Oh, sorry, said Apple Bloom as she came over to Sylvia and gave her a hug. How ya doing, Sylvia? Sylvia just smiled and hugged her back. Nice to see ya too, kiddo. Suddenly, Applejack made her way back over to the area to greet them herself. So, you two finally came back just like ya promised, even if it has been almost a year, Applejack, shouted Wonder with delight. Nice to see y'all. I take it that you guys are here because of Apple Bloom's letter, right? Exactly, said Wonder. If it wasn't for that letter, I'm afraid we couldn't have kept our promise just yet. Yeah, it's true, said Sylvia. We probably would have been lazing about somewhere right about now. It was a slow run for us for the past couple of weeks. Apple Bloom was jumping up and down finding out that her plan worked. I knew it. I knew that was the reason. Oh, we have so much to catch up on. I can't wait. Me too, Wonder agreed. Say, I know we just got here and everything, said Sylvia as went up to Applejack, but I'm pretty famished from traveling. You wouldn't happen to have, why you know? Applejack looked down as Sylvia pointed down to her stomach that was lightly growling. She chuckled and answered, say no more, I got you covered. As Applejack went off to the orchard to fetch Sylvia some apples, Sylvia noticed her brother, Macintosh, nearby pulling some bales of hay. She sort of strutted her way to him after he stopped and looked at him with a sly look and said, hey, handsome, what's up? Big Mac just looked at her, sweating a few drops as he thought to himself. Note: after a few minutes of arriving, Wonder and Sylvia went into the barn with Apple Bloom and her siblings. There, while Sylvia was munching on some apples to fill her belly, Wonder explained everything that happened that led them to this point. So that's how you two got here, said Apple Bloom. That's amazing. Who would have thought that some alienator would treat my letter so special like surprised us too, said Sylvia. She was delving deep into the sweet taste of one of the farm's apple. Sweet mother of Zornork, these apples are good. So what made you decide to try and send us a letter the way that you did? Wonder questioned towards Apple Bloom. It was just something that came to me a few months back. One day I was thinking about you guys and how much fun we had. And then I had an interesting thought that I could somehow write a letter and then send it up in space. And then maybe you two would find it one day and then come back once y'all got it. But how did you get it into space in the first place? Said Sylvia. Twilight helped. She was kind enough to try and use her magic to try and transport it there. It did take about 4 or 5 tries though, and about 2 of those tries did backfire and cause the letter to burn up in the atmosphere, causing me to write the letter again. But in the end, it finally worked. And in the process, Twilight felt pretty proud of herself. Twilight was a real friend to do that just for her, said Applejack. That's our princess of friendship. Apple Bloom was then curious about the adventures Wonder and Sylvia had as she asked, so did you have many adventures ever since you left last time? Plenty, Wonder admitted. Where do I even start? We made more new friends, battled more dangers, and faced many perilous challenges. In other words, the same stuff as usual. But you know, I can't help but think that there might be someone out there more powerful and even more dangerous than anything that we've ever faced. Like a plot twist in a sequel or something. While they all felt of what Wonder say was weird, Applejack just stated, well, things have changed here too, and a lot has happened. As a matter of fact, you two came at a perfect time. Oh really? Said Sylvia slyly. Care to explain? There's a celebration being held up in Candlelit tomorrow, and we're all just preparing for this big event. Once again, Wonder's eyes lit up after hearing what Apple Bloom said. Wait, Candlelit, as in that place where you told us the 2 royal sisters live? That Candlelit? Sylvia smirked and said, and here we go. That's right, Applejack answered. Tomorrow is Princess Luna's birthday and she decided to celebrate it by holding a celebration extravaganza on the Candlelit Palace grounds and is inviting an iPony and Equestria to join. Unless you're a troublemaker. Apple Bloom was getting excited herself just talking about it. There's going to be food, rides, entertainment, yeah, no, the usual fun stuff. Me and my friends can't wait. Wanda zipped up in front of Sylvia feeling all excited as usual, making sure he heard what he heard. Do you hear all of this, Sylvia? There's going to be a huge birthday celebration and everyone's invited. That means us too. There's no doubt about it, we have to go. We would be stupid not to go. You said you hoped that there was something happening here and you were right. Oh, I'm getting happy feet. Wanda hearing about a party or some kind of celebration was like a puppy getting a brand new toy. Sylvia knew this well and understood that there was no way to change his mind, but otherwise, well, I believe Wanda has made up his mind, so there's no need for me to go against it. We are definitely going to that celebration, hooray. Wanda shouted in joy, finally we're going to see the two royal pony sisters. Oh, can't wait. Oh, can't wait to tell the Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo that you two are back, said Apple Bloom, and that you're coming with us tomorrow. After gulping down another apple, Sylvia got up and stretched her body as she said, well, it was nice lounging about here for a bit, Wanda. Why don't we go into the main town? I bet you're dying to see the other ponies here again and whatever, and I know exactly who I want to see next, Fluttershy. Really? For a second there I thought that you were going to mention that hyper pink one. But hey, whatever floats your boat. Apple Bloom came up to those two and told them, "Aw, you're going off already?" "Of course," said Wanda with a commanding voice, "we can't leave the others out of the dark of us returning. Our presence must be known." "Okay," Apple Bloom responded as she suddenly ran off. "I'll help you a bit by telling my Crusader friends." "You do that," said Sylvia as the young filly exited the barn. "See you later then." Man, that little filly is as energetic as I remembered. Meanwhile, Applejack continued to do her work around the barn, stating, "Well, I'm just going to finish up things around here. You two have fun, and hope you enjoy your stay here again." "Will do," shouted Wanda as he hopped on Sylvia's back. "See y'all later, handsome," said Sylvia as she and Wanda passed him going out of the barn. Applejack chuckled at her brother, saying to him, "Oh, brother, is there any creature you can't charm?" Wanda were on their way outside the farm grounds to travel to Fluttershy's cottage. Wanda was kicking back and relaxing, feeling great about being back on this planet. "Isn't this great, Sylvia? Here we are in Equestria once again. So far, everything is just as wonderful as I remembered it." "That's right, pal," Sylvia admitted, "greeting old friends, an upcoming party celebration, relaxation, and no one will dare bother us down here." Suddenly, Sylvia had to stop to scratch herself again, feeling an irritating itch. There's that darn itch again." "Here," said Wanda, letting his hands, "allow me to get that for ya." Sylvia felt a lot better to have someone else get her itch than doing it herself. She thumped her leg rapidly, feeling relaxed. "Ooh yeah, right there. A little to the left, yeah, that's the spot." But just then, while Wanda was working his magic, he suddenly stopped when he felt his fingers go across something in Sylvia's fur. He picked up what he felt and looked at it, seeing that it was a small metal chip. What's this?" Why did you stop?" said Sylvia as she glared back at Wanda. "Check this out, Sylvia. I found this stuck in your fur. Probably what was making you itch all this time." Wanda handed the object to Sylvia, who grabbed it and looked at it very curiously. "With some kind of metal chip?" But she soon just threw it to the side, ignoring what it was completely. Probably just a piece of some space junk. No big deal." She continued on the path they were on as Sylvia requested. "Now, would you mind doing that scratch thing again?" The cute, adorable but deadly assassin, Lil Bitsat, used a signal from a tracking bug that she planted on Sylvia to track her Wanda to wherever they went. Using a mini-ship that she borrowed from Lord Hater, she followed the signal to a planet that seemed strange to her. But that didn't worry her, as she just smiled and chuckled to herself. And after getting situated, she pulled up a holoscreen to once again communicate with Hater and Peepers on her progress. "Well," said Hater impatiently, "what do you have to report?" "I thought the signal of the bug that IPWANTED on the done ZBOWNAK, and it wet me STWAGHT through destination, just as IPWANNED. And you hit the new doubt me and my CWEVER instincts. Nice work," said Peepers, feeling impressed. "I for one never doubted you for a second." Hater was impressed too, but not by too much. He just wanted to have confirmation of Lil Bit's findings. "Yeah, good for you. So where did they go?" After caprifowing their coordinates, their signal has led me to this PW880. She then turned the screen to face towards the ship's front window. It seems a bit STWANGE though. I've never seen it Bethoa, but that won't stop me. FWO, I'm using my PWE. While Hater and Peepers saw the bright and colorful planet that was in Lil Big's view, but it soon hit them of what that planet was, and they began to freak out. No, is that? No, said Hater, it can't be. Nah. There's no way, said Peepers, not that planet. Anything but that planet. Ah. Lil Biggs was looking at those two, arching our eye, not understanding of why they were freaking out. Well, you two seem to be jumpy all of a sudden. You've heard of this PW880 or something? Heard of it, said Peepers. We've experienced it firsthand. That planet may look like an easy place to invade, but it's an evil dictator's nightmare. How so? Said Leibitz, feeling curious. We followed those two nuisance for once and planned to take it over in the process, Hater explained, but then, these creatures, the inhabitants, they're just too powerful. Hearing this explanation from Hater, Lil Biggs was beginning to question her next decision on whether or not to go after her target. What were they? Giant swamp CWOCIDIWES? Some ugly winged monster. A poop-wigged, acid-spitting blue-eyed abomination I don't know about. No, none of that, Hater claimed. They're ponies. Lil Big suddenly just stood there staring at Hater and Peepers, weirdly feeling confused. But she then fell down on the ground in a fit of laughter. Why are you laughing? Hater shouted at her. Lil Big soon calmed down and looked back at Hater with a smirk. Well, excuse me if I find the fact that the word Hater, one who CWAIMS to be the most evil dictator in the nights, is afraid of ponies to be completely hilarious. This is no joke. Those ponies are more powerful than they look. They have these insane magical abilities that rival even my power. It's unreal, man. Lil Big just rolled her eyes and thought to herself, I doubt he is even the most powerful and evil being in the Knives anyway. He's too full of himself. LL, look, we're not saying that you can't handle yourself or anything, said Peepers hesitantly. What we're saying is, just wait until Yonder and Sylvia leave the planet. Then you can pursue them as much as you want. You understand, right? Lil Big slammed her little fist on the dash panel and stared at Hater and Peepers intensely, making only Peepers slightly jump in fright. OPWEAC. Being scared out of your wits just because you were beaten once by some dumb pony magic, in which case you PWOBABLY underestimated them anyway? No, you two are being nothing but a pair of wimps. What did you call us? Shouted Hater. Get this STWAGHT, word Hater. I've come too far to redeem myself. FWO, and my last mishap to tuck my tail between my legs and cower away. I will capture Yonder and Sylvia and then deliver them to you to kill what my wed. And no pansy little ponies is going to win that chance. Do I make my swift CWEAR? Hater and Peepers were quite shocked on just how determined Lil Biggs was to take revenge on their number one enemies, but perhaps she had the necessary skills to complete the mission, and better her than them. Alright, fine, said Hater solemnly. If you still want to go through with this, then be my guest. Her funeral, I guess, said Peepers softly. However, Lil Biggs still heard him and hissed. What was that? Nothing at all, said Peepers alarmingly. I was just saying, good luck. Peepers then turned their screen off with Lil Big still standing there with an angered expression. But then, the screen turned back on by Hater to tell her, and just to let you know that it was Peepers being scared of you and not me. And me, scared of her, said Peepers hesitantly. Preposterous. Why would I be scared of? Lil Biggs then stared at Peepers while flashing her claws and hissing harshly at him. He screamed in panic, turning the screen off once again. Idiots. Lil Biggs looked down at the planet in front of her, thinking over what Hater said to her. But she wasn't going to let any of it scare her. I don't know why this planet has those two shaking in their boots, but there's no way that I'm going to let some colorful, magical ponies get in the way of my money. Yonder and Sylvia followed their set path from Sweet Apple Acres and eventually came upon Fluttershy's cottage. Everything was as they remembered except the fact that there were a lot more animals around the place than there was last time they were there. Yonder made no hesitation as he went up to the front door and knocked. Knock knock, Miss Fluttershy. Guess who's back? I just can't wait to see you again. Wouldn't it be ironic if it turned out that she's not at the cottage again? Sylvia stated. Don't be silly. She is here, I just know it. And right on cue, they saw the doorknob turning and the door was beginning to open. See, right on time. Sometimes you just had to give them time to get to the door. But as Yonder turned around to greet who he figured was Fluttershy, surprise, Miss Flutter, whoa. Instead he saw a different creature. A tall creature whose body was made of different animal parts like a dragon tail and a pony head. The creature caught Sylvia off guard as well. Holy, what? Well well, what do we have here? The creature said, a couple of distant travelers. Yeah, we are, said Wander, suddenly looking amazed by the creature's appearance. By the way, you are not Miss Shy. Indeed I'm not. Discord is my name. Discord knew of them already and also knew they weren't of this world, which why they were part of what he sensed in his chaos aura earlier. So, you two must be Wander and Sylvia. I've been expecting you. Hold on a second, said Sylvia suspiciously. How do you know who we are? We didn't say anything yet. Maybe he's psychic, said Wander, and then he looked up at Discord with a wide grin. What am I thinking about right now? Discord looked down at him and then smirked as he snapped his fingers, causing a moderate-sized bowl of ice cream to appear in front of him. But it wasn't just any kind of ice cream. A Snurgle-berry lemonade ice cream sundae. Wander shouted in shock. He is psychic. He then started grabbing handfuls of the ice cream and was enjoying it, being careful of not getting brain freeze. No way, said Sylvia, being a bit freaked out. Only I know that's his most favorite ice cream flavor, and he made that decision just yesterday. Discord chuckled and told her, oh my dear sweet alien, there's many things you don't about me. We don't know anything about you. Well then congratulations, said Discord while holding a scooping ladle with some of the same ice cream in it. Here's your chance to get scoop on everything about moi. Heh, see what I did there? After finishing the ice cream, Wander wiped his and said to Sylvia, this guy is awesome. Something tells me we'll get along great. How wonderful, Sylvia groaned. She was getting an unusual vibe from this creature. Suddenly, they heard a familiar voice from behind him. Hey, Discord, who's at the door? Someone I believe you've already met, said Discord as he stepped to the side. It was Fluttershy, and her jaw dropped suddenly seeing Wander Sylvia at her doorstep. Wander waved his hand shouting, here. WW Wander. SS Sylvia, said Fluttershy. Spuh, said Sylvia with a smirk. You're speechless, right? Fluttershy was at a loss for words, seeing her extraterrestrial friends again in front of her eyes. She walked up to them saying, this is such a surprise. I had no idea that you two would be here after all of this time, and on today of all days. You mean the celebration thing, right? Said Wander. That's right. Oh wow, I guess this also means that Apple Bloom's trick worked. That's amazing. But you did make sure that no evil baddie followed you this time like last time, right? Yep, said Sylvia with assurance. We can absolutely say that no one bad, mean or evil has followed us here. Suddenly, Discord stuck his head in between their space and said, or have they? They all looked at him weirdly, wondering what he was doing. He just chuckled as he pulled away. I'm sorry, it was too hard to resist. I guess you two have already met Discord, said Fluttershy nervously. How could we not? Said Sylvia, ring at Discord. It's not exactly hard to see a mumble-jumbled-up animal weirdo. Now, that's a little harsh, said Discord. Be careful of how you speak to them. Astro Chaos. After hearing what he said, a small light bulb went off on Sylvia's head, remembering something Fluttershy and her friends told her and Wander of their past. Wait a minute. Discord, spirit of chaos. Now I remember. Isn't he one of those evil megalomaniacs that you and the other girls mentioned to us about that you faced and had to take down? Yeah, he is, Fluttershy calmly admitted. Then what the heck is he doing here, in your cottage? Silly Sylvia. Don't you remember? Said Wander. They said that this guy has changed. Isn't that right? That is absolutely right, said Discord in an innocent manner, wearing a halo over his head. It's true that I used to be an evil and diabolical tyrant that planned to plunge this world into pure chaos, but that's in the past now. Thanks to Fluttershy and the others, I've been reformed, changed, turned over a new leaf. I no longer feel the need to use my abilities to cause chaotic mischief, the evil kind anyway. Or have you? Said Sylvia, copying Discord's quote from earlier. Oh, he has, said Fluttershy with a little smile. He's been a big help in a lot of things recently. He even helped us a bit in defeating a powerful foe that we fought against recently named Toric. Okay, maybe he was tricked and was persuaded to join his side first, even though we gave him our trust, but he learned his lesson and realized his mistake. Isn't that right, Discord? That's right. Now I'm a complete angel. Hearing that Discord had backslid once after he had supposedly changed made Sylvia to be even more cautious of him than she was already. I highly doubt that. You ain't fooling anyone, buddy. Discord appeared on her back in Wander's size and then hugged her around her neck, telling her, you have such boastful attitude. And you called me buddy too. We're going to get along just fine. Get off of me. Sylvia shouted as she launched him off at her. Just then, Fluttershy's bunny friend, Angel, had hopped onto scene and became a bit startled suddenly seeing Wander and Sylvia. Hey, Angel, said Wander as he bent down Angel's level, remember us? You're still as cute as a button. Angel suddenly smiled and wiggled his tail as Wander petted him on his head. He was definitely glad to see him again. Suddenly, there was a ding sound like some kind of timer. Sounds like the lemon cookies are done. Ate Discord, suddenly appearing in front of them again in an apron. He snapped his fingers to make a tray of lemon cookies appear in his hand. Would you two like some? The Master of Chaos is making lemon cookies, said Sylvia, arching her eye. Now I've seen everything. Is it wrong for one such as me to have the simple hobby? I think not. His hobby is delicious, said Yonder, munching on one of the cookies. Fluttershy felt that her already great day was now even better with Yonder and Sylvia here again, but then she suddenly noticed the time on her clock in her cottage and knew she had to go somewhere. Well, again, it's nice to see you two back here, and Ponyville will love to see you two again too. I was just about to make my way to the main town. Care to join me? I don't know, said Yonder, poking Discord's leg. I want to hang out with this guy. I don't, said Sylvia. Something about him just rubs me the wrong way, like he's up to no good. I would love to have company, said Discord, but you could always come by again later if you wish. Go see your friends. Don't let me hold you back in that case. We would love to accompany you, Miss Shy. So where are you headed exactly? Well, first I just wanted to stop by the garden shop for some supplies, and then to Twilight's castle for a very important meeting. Hold on, did you just say that your friend Twilight has a castle now? Said Sylvia in shock. What happened to her treehouse place? It's a long story, but I can tell you on the way. Just wait till the others see that you're here. They'll be so excited. I know I would be, said Wanda, feeling excited to see Twilight's new castle. Sylvia looked over at the lemon cookies that Discord was holding and suddenly had a sweet tooth feeling in her belly. She idly went over to him and said, Hey, I guess I'll take one of those lemon thingies of yours, or 5. Discord smirked and gladly gave her 5 of his cookies. See, I told you we would be friends. Trust is always the first step. Keep dreaming, said Sylvia, ringing at him while munching on a cookie. I just wanted something sweet in my belly. Wonder and Sylvia then took their leave with Fluttershy for their next destination, the main town of Ponyville. Discord stood there at the doorway of Fluttershy's cottage, waving at the visitors, wishing them luck. It was nice meeting you two. He lightly smirked as they went off, knowing what was possibly in store for them. But suddenly, Angel went up to Discord and was giving him a stern look while crossing his arms and tapping his foot. Oh, don't give me that look, said Discord. So what if I didn't tell them? You want me to ruin their sweet reunion moment with this world? What kind of monster do you think I am? Angel just rolled his eyes and sighed, feeling aggravated. Lighten up, bunny boy, Discord said to him, ruffling up some of his fur on his head. Let's just allow this whole ordeal to carry out the way it was meant to be. Besides, it